Most people believe saving money is the goal. And on the surface, that sounds responsible. You're told to save for emergencies, save for a rainy day, save some just in case something goes wrong. So when you finally get a little money in your savings account, you feel accomplished. You feel like you're doing the right thing. But here's the truth most people will never hear. Saving money is not the goal. Saving money is the starting point. Saving keeps you safe. It does not make you wealthy. And this is where people get stuck for years, sometimes decades. They save, they pause, they save some more, and they wonder why nothing feels different. Their stress level hasn't changed. Their dependence on their job hasn't changed. One unexpected expense can still knock them off balance. That's because saving does not remove risk, it only delays it. If your money only grows when you add to it, you are still doing all of the work. The money itself isn't helping you, it's just sitting there waiting to be used. This is why people can save 5 figures and still feel anxious. Deep down, they know the money isn't working, it's just parked. Nobody explained that money has stages. You don't jump from saving to wealthy. There are steps in between. And if you don't know those steps exist, you'll assume you're failing. You're not failing. You're just early. Saving is a foundation, but foundations are meant to be built on, not lived forever. There's a middle level of wealth nobody talks about. There is a level of wealth most people never reach, not because it's impossible, but because nobody talks about it clearly. It's the level between saving money and being rich. And that level is called positioning. Positioning is when your money starts doing something without you constantly adding to it. This is where people separate. Most people stay in saving mode because it feels safe. Others rush straight into investing because they feel behind. Both approaches usually create stress. Positioning requires patience, and patience is hard when you think you're running out of time. At this stage, the questions change. Instead of asking, how much can I save? You start asking, where does this money work best over time? Instead of asking what feels safe right now, you ask what reduces my dependence on income long term. This is where assets, leverage, and strategy begin to matter. Not because you're trying to get rich fast, but because you're trying to stop relying on one source of money forever. Most people skip this stage entirely. They don't understand it, so they assume it's only for people who are already wealthy or already knowledgeable. That assumption keeps them stuck. Most people who look lucky aren't lucky. They just learned this level earlier. Wealth is not built by speed, it's built by order. And once you understand the order, things start to feel calmer instead of rushed. And this is why wealth looks boring before it looks impressive. This is the part social media doesn't show you. Wealth looks boring before it looks impressive. At the beginning, it doesn't look like luxury. It looks like restraint. It looks like saying no to upgrades. It looks like choosing structure over aesthetics and long-term thinking over short-term validation. That's why most people quit early. They don't quit because they're incapable. They quit because it doesn't feel rewarding yet. Real wealth doesn't applaud you at the beginning. Nobody claps when you build stability. Nobody congratulates you for being consistent. Nobody sees the quiet decisions you're making behind the scenes. But quiet decisions compound. People who chase fast money usually end up back at zero because intensity burns out. People who move slowly and consistently keep climbing. Wealth is not built by urgency, it's built by consistency. And consistency only works if you trust the process long enough to let it work. If you're early in your journey, you're not behind, you're just still climbing the ladder. The mistake would be quitting because it doesn't look impressive yet. Because by the time wealth looks exciting on the outside, the work has already begun to be done on the inside. That's how people actually win. And this is why income will never make you feel secure. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing income with security. They think that once they hit a certain number, a salary, a rate, a monthly amount, they'll begin finally feeling calm. They tell themselves, if I just made a little bit more, I wouldn't be worried anymore. But income doesn't create security. Income creates movement. Security comes from what happens when income stops. This is why people with high-paying jobs still feel anxious. It's not because they don't make enough. It's because their lifestyle, responsibilities, and identity are all tied to that income continuing without interruption. If your bills depend on your next check, you are not secure, you are dependent. And that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you were taught the wrong definition of stability. Real security comes from buffers, from margin, from having money set up in a way that absorbs shocks instead of magnifying them. It comes from knowing that one decision, one bad month, or one unexpected event doesn't undo everything you've built. Income is helpful, necessary even, but income alone is fragile. The goal isn't to make money forever. The goal is to make money optional over time. Once you understand that, the anxiety around more money starts to fade because you're no longer chasing a number, you're building insulation. That's why there's a role of credit and leverage in wealth. Credit is one of the most misunderstood tools in wealth building. Most people were taught that credit is dangerous, irresponsible, or something to avoid unless absolutely necessary. Others were taught the opposite, like me, to use credit freely without understanding consequences. Both extremes cause problems. Credit is not good or bad. Credit is a tool. Used without understanding, it creates stress. Used without structure, it creates options. Wealthy people don't use credit because they're reckless. They use it because it allows them to move without liquidating their own cash. It allows them to preserve their money while still taking action. The issue is that most people are introduced to credit through emergencies or consumption and not strategy. So credit becomes emotional instead of intentional. Intentional credit is boring. It's planned. It's measured. It's used with a clear purpose. The goal of credit and wealth building is not to impress anyone. It's to reduce friction, to smooth cash flow, to create flexibility when opportunities or challenges arise. When credit works against you, it controls your choices. When it works for you, it expands them. And this is why understanding credit, not fearing it, not abusing it, is a turning point for many people. It's not about debt, it's about control. That's why most people delay wealth until it's too late. One of the most quiet reasons people don't build wealth is delay. They tell themselves, I'll start later, when things slow down, when life feels less chaotic. But life rarely slows down on its own. There's always something demanding your attention, whether that's work, family, responsibilities, fatigue, and wealth building gets pushed to the side because it doesn't feel urgent. Urgent things scream, important things whisper. Wealth building is quiet work. It doesn't force itself into your schedule. You have to choose it. Most people delay because they think starting later won't matter. They underestimate time. They assume they'll have the same energy, the same options, the same flexibility in the future. But time is one variable you cannot replace. Earlier you build structure, the more forgiving your mistakes become. The later you start, the more pressure every decision carries. This isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to wake you up. Imperfectly is always better than waiting for the right time. Because the right time isn't when you feel ready, it's when you finally decide that your future deserves intention. Wealth doesn't require perfection, it requires commitment. And the people who win aren't the ones who know everything at the beginning. They're the ones who stopped postponing their future. If these conversations are helping things click for you, I built a community where we go deeper into this step by step. No pressure, just a space for people who want structure instead of guessing. The link is below when you're ready. Don't forget to like or subscribe to this YouTube channel.